Hello and welcomes back once again everyone, AnthWolf here with more Pillars of Eternity. We've just left the Goose and Fox Tavern here in Copper Lane, which is in Defiance Bay. And as I said in the last episode, Ada seems to want to speak to us.
The dozens. Pretty sure you won't find one among them who stood within 100 miles of that bridge when the Godhammer went off. Too bad, too. So then there'd be less of them.
Ada really doesn't like the dozens. Okay, so why did they call themselves that? Was 12 Derodians stood outside Haygot Citadel waiting for Werdrin to cross the bridge there. They had to hold him there long enough for the Godhammer to detonate. So that's what they did. And the Godhammer? We've heard about this, but let's see if we can have another opinion of it. That's what they called the bomb they blew up. Blew up Werdrin with. Don't know much about it other than that. Anything kills a living god, guess you gotta name it. What do you have against the dozens? Ah, nothing serious. Nothing I don't have against a lot of folks anyway. There's the dozens, they like to take things into their own hands. Gets ugly sometimes. We don't have them in Gilded Vale, but they'd be right at home there. They'd pick that name so they could do what they wanted and feel like it was right. Got nothing to do with honour and sacrifice. They like to invoke Magrin too, when they especially want to feel right. Somehow I don't think she'd be too impressed with that lot. I'm sure she'd like to set them on fire any time they use her name, but the gods probably got rules against that sort of thing. People hide behind symbols so they can't be questioned. The Duke's a reasonable man. Maybe while we're in Defiance Bay we can get him to force people to call themselves what they are. Don't imagine they'd have as many members if they called themselves the loudmouth sheepfuckers. I like that. Let's continue on. Good idea. We might go straight to the Duke and see if we can get that notion passed. Ah, that's what I needed this morning. Right. We have a lot of Copper Lane still to explore. What's my experience? Not too bad, but you still need a fair bit of experience because it looks like I only need 770 experience to actually gain my next level. But you actually, the experience you gain is spread across the entire party. So really I need about 5,000 experience to actually level everyone up. Which is a lot actually still. I was going to lie and say it wasn't, but now that we've got 6 party members, yeah, it could be a fair bit. Let's just head up to the marketplace then. We'll start heading our way towards completing the side quest we were given. Let's do a quick save. Here's the marketplace. People probably won't be out. I wonder if there's like a night and day cycle. There's a few merchants it seems. A young woman stands by the car watching the crowd with bright eyes that focus on you as you approach. What crowd? Never mind. We have a hunting bow, we have some hide armour, the priest robes we can sell. You have some rings and potions. The Seal of Faith. 14,000 copper. Okay, fair enough. It's a very handy spell for clerics. And a wizard. Plus 10 deflection would be nice. And that's plus 10 everything else. Okay, that makes sense. And Narma here. Oh, more people to speak to? Holy hell. Narma, you have camping supplies and miscellaneous consumables. Oh. I'm guessing you're the weapons vendor. Oh, hi. Agrin stands behind the stall, polishing a broadsword. The patterned flesh around his eyes is crinkled with age, and the muscles in his arms are knotted and lean. But he holds the weapon with ease. Come to take a look, you won't find a finer collection of armour and weaponry in Defiance Bay. Outside Solnid's, of course. He flashes a crooked grin. What's so special about Solnid? She operates in the Expedition Hall, sells the best equipment in the city, but Wayne keeps her on a short leash, keeps her fine inventory reserved for chartered expeditionists, members of the Dozens, and anyone else he takes a liking to. So wait, members of the Dozens, who everyone seems to dislike unless you're a dozen yourself, is allowed to keep her fine, gets fine weaponry from the best craftsman going? Okay. Let's see what you have for sale then anyway. You have a fiery two-handed scepter called the Lady's Hand. Plus 10 accuracy when below 50% endurance and damage. We have a fine two-handed warbow. 20% of damage is restored as endurance, and its attacks can stun on crits. Lost Fane's Reach, two-handed pike. And Shatterstar, a one-handed warhammer. Annihilation, plus 0.5 to crit damage as multiplier. Pike's Pride. So half duration, it has a will defense. Plate armor. The heaviest armor in regular use by adventurers and soldiers. Plate armor protects its wearers from all but the most severe of blows. It is a compromise of 3 layers of base padding, a suit of mail, and a top layer of steel plates. Now, that's probably really what I want. But mine, I'm wearing Fine Brigandine, which is exactly the same, but it has less damage reduction against different things. The Dunrid Demon. Plus 2 intellect. And you have a pry bar. You have a lockpicks, actually. I might pick them up. And I might... No, we don't need another pry bar just yet. Thank you. So, Hilda. You see a dimly lit room with extravagant decoration. Pillars of silk brocade cover the floor surrounding a large velvet-covered divan. The man sits on the divan, his shirt untucked and only halfway unbuttoned. Halfway buttoned? It's the same thing. Behind him stands this elf, dressed in the same lavish finery that decorates the room. Her hips gyrate gently, dancing slowly around the man as she begins to sing. He looks up at her blearily, intoxication clouding his vision. He smiles tunelessly, humming along with her. Her words are too low to hear clearly, but her singing grows more intense. The lights in the room seem to dim even farther, and everything loses focus. She takes his face in her hand, singing directly to him, running her hands down his shoulders and arms until she is holding his hands. The man's eyes grow heavy, and he quickly succumbs to sleep, slumping backward. She holds his arms, catching him as he falls, and gently lays him down across the divan. She stops singing when his head hits the pillow, and suddenly the lights brighten back up, and everything snaps back into focus. She slips her hand into his jacket, retrieving an item that she places in a small box sitting on a nearby table. She looks back at the man, shakes her head, and escapes into the night. An elven thief. Sneaky. And Lenkil Greatstorm. With a name like that, what have you done? You see a man stumble, knees bleeding, clothes torn and eyes dead. His skin is damp with sweat as he pushes onward. His back is arched, defeated, and at his side hangs a bow, strings limp from disuse. He trips through the undergrowth sightlessly, ignoring all but the sound of his own anguish. He comes across a deer, guts spilled across the forest floor, still steaming into the cold night air. A Stagor watches him from above, perched on the trunk of an enormous fallen tree. It takes the man a moment to notice his danger, and he seems almost glad for it. The Stagor unravels itself from the tree, eyeing him carefully. Its distended stomach almost brushes the ground as it jumps down, and the man dives to meet it. For a moment time seems to slow down as man and beast collide. The Stagor roars, swiping at him with its claws, but soon has him pinned. Great yellow teeth and acrid breath, ready to end his intrusion. But with a wet ripping sound, instead the agonized Stagor is himself gutted from neck to rump. The man exhales deeply, covered in blood, ponderous. Not today. Not today. I wonder what's happened to you then. There's another barrel over here. What is this? It's another house, which we can apparently go into, but isn't marked. So it might be a quest at some point. We may explore there before we leave Copper Lane. I would like to explore the expedition hall though. Most definitely. Admith's Den. I don't think we're anywhere strong enough to maybe do an expedition, but it'd be interesting to see what they offer, as well as apparently the best craftsman, like weaponsmith, is here.
Looks like the kind of place we could find allies for a prize.
And more people to speak to. Book of the Hunt, excerpts on the Sermon of Struggle, and the Dozens. Oh, hi. A well-groomed man steps through the hall with a confident swagger, a smug grin etched on his face. He is flanked by 5 other hard-looking individuals. One of the companions eyes you for a moment before spitting chew at your feet. Another pub come wandering in, I see. Just know that Brain's giant slayers run things around here and you'll be fine. Never heard of them. Sighs narrow. You have now. Stick around to find Spain and you will again. Plenty of bounties to go around, but there's a reason that giant slayers get the lion's share. Remember that. Enough jabber, Brain. You've got to do the job or talk about it. Oh, yeah. Wernon's right. That coin ain't gonna collect itself. See you around, pup. Some sort of professional expedition party there. Daggers mark the locations of various Ingrifian ruins. Notes posted around the map list bets on current expeditions. So I'm guessing Waynan is the expedition leader.
Don't stand on ceremony. State your business.
I'm looking for work, actually.
Go see Osric. He's usually got something. You do well for him, maybe I can find you more.
Oh, thank you for letting us know. Can you tell me anything about the Dozens? His expression becomes serious and the timbre of his voice deepening. Good men and women trying to walk in the footsteps of great men and women who came before us. We're a loose association of warriors and expeditionaries in the Drywood. Not as fancy as the Crucible Knights, mind you, but at least we remember our roots. At least you remember something else's roots and pretend to be like them, he means. Your roots? The Crucible Knights take pride in having won the Drywood's freedom 150 years ago, but we're the ones who protected it. Everyone knows that the Saints' War ended when the Godhammer destroyed Wadrin at the Avondria Bridge, and a lot of folks don't know how Wadrin wound up on that bridge. 7 men, 5 women. They walked out of Highgot Citadel and faced down a god and held him there until the bomb went off. That's the legacy we defend. Some call us mercenaries, but we don't need matching armour and silky cloaks to remember our roles. We're the same now as we were then. We stand up for the people. First line of defence, whatever it takes. We got new enemies now. If it's not wagering, it's his damn legacy. It's the damn soul butchers in Brackenbreach making things worse on all of us. Probably causing the whole thing one way or another. Well, we haven't gone anywhere, and there's a lot more than 12 of us now. We defend Drywood once, we'll do it again. What else do you need? Nothing actually, farewell. I really don't like the idea of the dozens controlling the expedition hall. I really want to enjoy this place because I like the concept of it. But the dozens just give me a bad taste in my mouth. Ah. Mercenaries training, it seems. Hello, Osric. Have you even held a weapon before?
For the last time, Aidwig, keep your fucking blade up! If that dummy was armed, it'd have your head off!
Tell me about the expedition hall if you have time. It's treasure hunting, plain and simple. Sponsors put up money, hire adventurers to explore the wilds, looking for ruins mostly. If they come back alive, they split the spoils. If not, it's because they handle their weapons like this lot in front of me, who might as well be digging their own graves right now. Got any business with me? Looking for work.
You want an expedition? Talk to Wenham. I just handle these mercenary shit shovelers. Adventurers, I mean.
Although, I do have something I need done. Something that requires competence. While watching, he glances sidelong at an adventurer flailing away helplessly at a dummy. What do you need done?
I was formerly one of the Knights of the Crucible. When I left, they kept my arms and armor. The arms they can have, but the armor belonged to my family. I'd like it back.
Why don't you ask for it? He probably has, but we'll ask.
No. Oh, they'd like that, I'm sure. But I won't be going. Sooner be torn apart by dogs than give them the satisfaction.
Sounds like leaving the Crucible Knights was your choice.
You don't choose to leave knighthood. The Crucible Knights, they may not be a real knighthood, but the oaths you swear are just as true. Still, turns out that even unofficial knighthoods have politics. You cross the wrong man, suddenly all kinds of accusations are thrown your way, and nobody believes you.
Nothing more destructive than a crowd with the wrong idea. Yeah, that sounds like the dozens as well, but sounds like the Crucible Knights have their own little issues. So, what's this armor about?
It's a breastplate. Not much to look at, and it's seen far too much use, but it's been in my family since the liberation.
I'll see what I can do then for you.
Then it's Penhelm you're looking for. A low snake of a man. If he was to die choking on his own black tongue, it'd be too kind of fate. He kept it when he had me kicked out. I got word from a reliable source that Penhelm visited a forger in Andra's gift, right after being soul-scanned by a cipher in Dunreed Row. Should you have it in your heart to find a way to ruin his life while you're there, well, drinks on me.
Having a soul lineage read? What the hell does that mean?
It's a requirement to join the Knights. They have to ensure a novitiate doesn't have a subversive lineage. If Penhelm's superiors found out his affidavit was a fake, his career would be over. Every novitiate gets an affidavit from Dunreed Row, and those are stored at Crucible Keep. If you find Penhelm's, one of those ciphers could tell you if it's real.
Sigourney scratches the back of her neck. If generations of Mesuk's traditions are any indication, this Pelham probably doesn't remember it. Still, a past like that has to count for something. Farewell. So will Winnan give us an expedition, or do we need to complete this quest as like a prelude, a prerequisite quest? I'm
Go
looking
see
for work.
Osric. He's usually got something. You do well for him, maybe I can find you more.
Osric sent me to you, looking for an expedition. I have expeditions, but they're not just for anyone. We dozens help those of like mind and deed. How about you give Osric a hand first, show us where you stand? I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, I figured it would be that way. Ah, and this is Solnid. We've heard about you. Are you going to trade to us, or are you not allowed unless we become an actual expedition member?
Hello.
Haven't seen you before. You headed out with the expedition company. Are you betting on one? Tell me about expeditions. They're groups of adventurers that venture into the wilderness. More than a few of them try their luck scouring the ruins. Most of them come back empty-handed if they come back at all. Betting on them is almost as risky as actually going, but that's how the expeditions get funded, and every once in a while one of the adventuring companies will strike it big and make a fortune for their backers. Can I buy something? I'm afraid not. See, the dozens only do business with me as long as I only do business with them, and they're good customers. But if you get on Osric's good side, he could make an exception for you. He's probably training some of the new recruits right now. Right. So we don't need to worry about Wayne, who I don't really like. Osric, we don't know much about his political opinion. He's not a great fan of the Crucible Knights, or one person in particular of them. But if we get on his good side at least, then maybe we can get some decent weapons. We need one more mechanics. We can probably get there when we level up next. So we'll keep that in mind. I'll probably forget it.
A simple test.
Oh, wait.
I'll see what I can find.
Let's go into
That.
let's go into stealth mode. Geological map and a rope and grappling hook. This map marks areas of geological activity in the Drywood and Airgland faith. Of note is a description of a cavern where molten rock flows from a deep chasm. Interesting. Okay, there's two people of note to talk to here at least. Peer into their souls. I think I hadn't done it already. Two all on here. So we have Corin. Oh, this is not going to be a happy story. You see three human boys walking through a city street, pushing each other and joking with one another. They stop one of them pointing down a road and they look at each other. This Orlando, younger and smaller, is the target for their attention. She has a handful of coins as he passes from hand to hand, is moving towards the marketplace. The boys move quickly, working their way round her through the crowd until they form a line in front of her, herding her into a shadowy corner away from the main thoroughfare. They taunt her, accusing her of stealing the coins, talking over her protests of innocence. They threaten her, telling her they will turn her over to the city watch for thievery if she doesn't give them the coins, because they can help at least three unfortunates with the money. One of the boys reaches for the coins, but she pulls her hand back. He cuffs the side of her head and grabs her hand, forcing it open and letting the coins drop into his palm. The other boys laugh, thanking her for her service, and disappear into the crowd. The Orlan looks around, tears welling in her eyes. She spies a member of the watch and runs over, telling him what she has just robbed. The guard is unmoved, informing her that if he helps, she's just going to have to let it happen again next time. She protests, telling him that it is his job to help, but the guard is unmoved and unmoving. She stares at him for quite some time, fury burning behind her small eyes. Without saying another word, she turns and storms off, her face set with resolution. Yeah. Humans can be dicks to other races. But I suppose that the opposite could be true in the same situation, so, you know, it's just an unfortunate circumstance. You see this Orlan cautiously making his way down a dark stone corridor. His eyes are wide and he's constantly looking over his shoulder, every noise making him jump. He appears dressed for adventuring, but his armor is ill-fitting and his pack refuses to stay on his back. Another sound reaches his ears from behind him and he spins around, peering into the darkness, trying to discern the sound of the noise. He stands there for several seconds, holding his breath and staring. When nothing happens, he lets out a relieved sigh and turns to continue walking. His pack slips from his shoulder, and cooking implements tumble out, sending a clattering din down a quiet hall. Freezing and listening to the tomb-silent aftermath of the accident, he hears booming footsteps reach his ears from behind him. He lets out a little squeal and runs away from the approaching creature. Clattering through his spilled gear, the footsteps speed up and the Orlan squeals again, hurrying down the hall. There is a guttural growl close behind him, and he turns to see an ogre emerge from the darkness behind him. The squeal becomes a yell and he puts his head down and breaks into a run. The ogre steps on the spilled gear and lets out a bellow of pain, breaking stride and looking down at its foot as it continues to hop forwards. Panicked, the Orlan hits a tripwire pulled across the corridor without even noticing it was there. It knocks his feet out from under him and he tumbles to the floor, rolling a bit before ending up on his back. He lifts his hand slightly and looks down the hall. The ogre has regained its stride and is running at him, hand out, intending on grabbing him. Both ogre and Orlan are unaware of the battle axe swinging a deadly arc through the air, accidentally tripped by the Orlan. The axe buries itself in the ogre's face, stopping it in its tracks, hand extended, blood making a trail down its face and dripping to the floor. The Orlan stares wide-eyed as the ogre goes limp, its weight slowly pulling it off the axe with a wet sucking sound. It comes loose and falls, eliciting a final squeal from the Orlan, who scoots backward to avoid getting squashed by the falling ogre's head. After a few moments processing what just happened, the Orlan quickly scrambles over the ogre's body and runs down the hall towards an exit. You had a close call, didn't you? Well, that was the expedition hall. We have another side quest which we can do. I think that recommended we go to Andra's gift to speak to an animancer there. At least I'm guessing it's an animancer he needs to see for someone to peer into your soul lineage. See, we have plenty more to explore here in Copper Lane. This is going to take some time, but we will see where it develops. Obviously, we can probably do the side quest next because that's quite nearby to the marketplace, and then we'll continue around the outside. Looks like we've got like a kind of like amphitheater here. Probably where there's some sort of like ongoing play, maybe during the day at least. So, this is AnthWolf and I hope you've all enjoyed and I hope you all take care, and I'll see you all for more Pillars of Eternity in the next video. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye now.